Welcome to Apex Mindset. Today we're exploring something really fundamental, a core idea behind, well, pretty much every successful leader or brand you can think of. It's this concept that perception isn't just part of power. In many ways, perception is the power. We're going to look at how real influence happens not just through words or plans, but through the smart use of images, drama, and spectacle. Our goal today is to really understand this apex mindset approach, this focus on visual influence. We've looked at a lot of history and analysis to see how key figures command attention, often, without saying much at all.
And commanding attention is absolutely crucial today, isn't it? I mean, think about the sheer amount of noise out there. Everyone's competing for your focus. To cut through that, just being heard isn't enough anymore. You really have to be seen. And the core truth, something we see again and again through history, is that people remember what they see much longer, much more deeply than what they hear. If you want your message to stick, it needs to be visually unforgettable first.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. Why? Why do images have this kind of inherent edge over just explaining things? When we try to define big ideas like loyalty or nationhood or even quality, why do we always reach for symbols, flags, iconic designs? Why not just hand out a detailed explanation?
Well, it comes down to how our brains work, really, and maybe even our evolution. We aren't purely logical machines. We're driven by emotion. We look for patterns, symbols, strong visuals. They sort of bypass the hard work of logical processing,
Yeah.
or figuring out sentence structure, meaning they go straight for the gut, the emotional centers where memories are made. There's actually a term for it, processing fluency. Our brains just prefer information that's easy to digest, a powerful image. Minimal effort to get it. A flag instantly means nation. A lion means strength. Easy. Compare that to reading, say, a complex policy document. That takes real mental effort. So visual dominance created through spectacle builds emotional connection, instant recognition. Words often just create intellectual agreement, which is, frankly, pretty fragile, easily forgotten.
That really changes how you think about leadership, doesn't it? It implies that if you're not crafting some kind of visual experience around your ideas, you're basically asking people to work too hard to even care. But isn't there a risk? Couldn't relying too much on spectacle make someone seem, I don't know, shallow or even manipulative? How do you make sure there's real substance behind the show?
That's the crucial balance. You're absolutely right. Spectacle is the delivery mechanism. It's not the message itself. The apex mindset isn't about being superficial. It's about strategically showing your actual strengths. If your core strategy, your substance is solid, then the spectacle just makes it undeniable, unmissable. The key shift is moving from just communicating, which is like sending data, to creating spectacle, which is staging a defining, memorable moment.
Okay, so how do we make that shift? How do we go from understanding this to actually doing it?
Yeah.
How do you turn, say, a standard policy announcement or a keynote or even just a meeting into something more like a theatrical experience? This is where it gets really practical, I think.
Yeah.
Every move, every appearance maybe needs to pass this test. Does this action visually communicate control or power or clear purpose? Am I giving people something they'll remember seeing, not just something they happen to hear?
Exactly. And this demands consistency. Discipline in visual execution. You need to build a visual language. Everything should reinforce the main story. We're talking about things like color choices, the layout of your space, even the consistent look of your presentations. These carefully chosen visuals act like a kind of silent authority. They command attention without having to spell everything out. If you look like you have authority, people are much more likely to grant it to you.
Let's make this concrete. History is full of examples, right? Leaders who really understood how to turn an action into an unforgettable symbol. Let's dive into maybe one of the most famous examples of staging power, Napoleon's coronation back in 1804. Now, this wasn't just some standard religious ceremony, was it? It was pure political theater, carefully choreographed. Napoleon was already in power, but he needed to visually redefine where that power came from, for France, for Europe, for history.
Precisely. The centuries-old tradition in Europe was clear. The Pope crowns the ruler. That symbolized power granted by God, the divine right. That was the established visual language. Napoleon had to shatter that visual. He needed a new symbol. And the setting was Grand Notre Dame Cathedral, thousands watching, the whole continent paying attention. But the defining moment, the real spectacle, was one single gesture. Right at the climax, as the Pope lifted the huge imperial crown, Napoleon stepped up, took the crown himself right off the altar, and placed it on his own head. Then he crowned his wife, Josephine.
Wow, The sheer audacity of that, it just sticks in your mind. He didn't need a long speech explaining he was a self-made emperor, or that the church didn't give him his power, or that it was earned through, winning battles.
That's exactly it. That single, calculated physical act said it all, with incredible clarity. My authority comes from me, from my actions, from the people, not from God or any external blessing. And crucially, he didn't just do it. He had it immediately documented, immortalized, commissioned that massive, famous painting by Jacques-Louis David. That painting locked the message in. It ensured that the visual symbol of his self-made power was etched into collective memory forever. The power wasn't just in the act itself, but in the planned documentation of the act.
That's a really interesting point. The spectacle needs creating, sure, but it also needs capturing and sharing. So let's bring this into our hypervisible digital world. Today, capturing and circulating the image is everything, isn't it? Modern brands, modern leaders, they rise or fall based on how the story looks. Whether you're selling a car or an idea.
Absolutely. Look at the masters of the modern spectacle, often in the tech world. The classic example has to be the Apple product launch, especially under Steve Jobs. They understood, fundamentally, you're not just selling a phone, you're selling membership in a kind of movement and identity. Think about it. A normal company might just send out a press release, maybe hold a conference call. Apple stages a ritual. They pour energy into the theater of it all. The darkened stage, the dramatic entrance, the consistent uniform Jobs' black turtleneck became a symbol itself, right, of minimalist focus. The carefully controlled lighting, highlighting just the speaker and the gleaming new product. It's all designed as this almost religious unveiling. It builds intense anticipation. And anticipation is pure emotional engagement.
It really is theater, designed to create almost fanatical loyalty, long before anyone even knows the detailed specs. They turn what could be a boring sales pitch into a major cultural event. So for you listening right now, whether you're an entrepreneur or working in a large organization, the takeaway seems pretty clear. Stop thinking of announcements as just information dumps. Start treating them as experiences designed to be visually stamped into memory.
And this gets back to the strategic core of the Apex mindset. Spectacle works so well because it's a direct pipeline to our emotions. We remember how something made us feel far more vividly than the specific words we were told. We should even think about psychological principles, like the serial position effect, making sure your most powerful visual messages are right at the beginning and the very end of any presentation. That maximizes memory. It's basic psychology applied visually.
Okay, so let's get really practical. How can someone listening start building their own compelling spectacle? Moving beyond the theory into actual steps. Step 1, maybe we call it defining your visual thesis. You have to consciously decide what's the single main emotion you want people to instantly feel when they see you or your brand. Is it rock-solid authority, fearless innovation, quiet dependability, maybe disruptive rebellion? You have to nail that down first.
Then step 2, creating a signature image. And this is more than just a logo. It's your whole curated visual identity, something that speaks volumes before you even open your mouth. Think about those figures whose look became inseparable from their message, like you mentioned Jobs' simplicity, or maybe the super sharp tailoring of a top financier signaling precision and control. You're essentially creating a visual shortcut for complex ideas.
Third step, and this one feels very actionable, mastering environmental asymmetry. Most people don't really think about their surroundings, but a leader using spectacle uses space, color, even height deliberately. If you want to project clear authority, for example, make sure your stage setup or even your Zoom background is asymmetrical, meaning you are the clear, intentional focus, not just blending in. Your workspace, your digital presence, your physical stage, they all need to echo that core visual thesis.
Step 4 is about strategic scarcity and the reveal. This tackles that risk of overexposure we talked about. Sometimes mystery enhances power, right? If you're always accessible, always visible, your appearances become mundane. The master of spectacle understands this. They limit their visibility sometimes, creating a sort of anticipation economy. Then, when you do appear or announce something, it feels like a significant event, a deliberate reveal.
And finally, step 5, maybe the trickiest, controlling the documented narrative. Just like Napoleon needed that painting, you need to manage how your spectacle is recorded and shared later. If you don't actively shape the image, the photos people see, the key sound bites, the visual takeaways, then others will define it for you, often simplifying or even twisting it. You have to control that lasting image.
And while doing all this, we have to remember those pitfalls. Substance and spectacle must go hand in hand. Neglecting the details of the performance can shatter the whole illusion. A single mistake, bad lighting, a visual inconsistency, a gesture that feels fake, it can break the spell instantly. The second the audience feels a disconnect between the image and the underlying reality, that emotional connection just evaporates. You're left with, well, empty theater.
So what's the bottom line here? For you navigating this incredibly noisy 21st century, it really seems like attention is the ultimate prize, the real currency. And spectacle. It's the tool that cuts through all that distraction. It transforms your presence or your brand's identity from just another piece of information into a lasting memory. It moves you from being just a person or a company into something closer to a myth.
Exactly. Look, you don't need Napoleon's empire or a giant stadium. What you need is vision. The real leader, the apex mindset leader, is an architect of perception. They are constantly designing how they want to be seen and remembered. So craft your life, craft your work, craft every appearance as a performance that's actually worth etching into memory.
Thank you for joining us for this exploration of strategic influence within the apex mindset. If you found this discussion valuable and want more insights into powerful ideas and frameworks, please do like and subscribe. That way you won't miss our next analysis. We look forward to guiding you through more knowledge very soon.